Okay, everybody, welcome to Inside the Broken Family. For anybody who is here for the first time, this is a podcast where we read poems, stories, and reflections that we've written ourselves. And we talk about it and have a good discussion, hopefully. Any thoughts about last week's podcast episode?
2 weeks?
I listened to the Thanksgiving one. I haven't listened to the most recent one yet.
The most recent one was The Killing of Hope.
What a great title.
It is. It's pretty good. Really good title.
I did too.
Was that a sarcastic remark?
No, no. Was it?
Yes!
You guys are vibing on the same level.
Yeah, it just sounds horrible.
Why?
Because without hope, we have nothing.
Oh, wow.
Or without
I
hope.
very much disagree.
No,
Without hope, we have
I mean,
everything.
There's a lot of today. I mean, like, we have today and everything. Hope is a future thing. But for me, hope is something that I've always gave me something for the future. When you have hope in something, that gives me something.
That's really good.
That's good. We talked about that a lot last week.
Yeah.
We talked about that a lot last week.
We didn't do one last week.
Well, I'm talking about the episode.
Oh.
Killing of Hope.
The Killing of Hope.
Yeah, I liked Dad's poem. Yeah, it was good. About what he thinks hope actually is.
I've thought a lot about jumping on the other side of the wall and painting on it. Thought a lot about that idea.
Without hope, there's nothing.
That's one perspective, right?
I think it's a true perspective, because then that's where you get your chance to create, to paint on the other side of the wall.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the Thanksgiving one that we did too. Hearing everybody's poems or writings that stood out to them. Or songs. Mom wrote a song. You wrote a song.
I wrote a song.
You read.
That would be cool if I wrote a song.
You could.
You could.
Yeah. Anybody can.
Oh, you should write a song and sing it right here.
That would be cool though.
All right.
What was
Would be cool.
What was yours called?
Holding On to You, 21 Pilots.
No. Sorry. The writing last week.
Last
or
week.
the week that we just.
Yeah.
What did I write?
It was about.
It was good.
A boy. Becoming. I'd have to listen to it again.
Yeah.
I missed a lot the first time, so it was really good to listen to it again. But I want to listen to it another time because there was a lot in there. So I enjoyed it.
It's weird, I don't remember.
Acceptance in the ink.
Oh, yeah.
Acceptance in the ink.
Yeah. It was about, a boy and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's just get her going. Dad, up first.
Tight squeeze in there. Whoever moved that had a great idea. So this is our topic week, and the topic that was chosen for us is candy swirls, I think.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention candy swirls. And then we did talk about adding a Christmas spin on it, but
for Christmas month.
Oh, I didn't add a Christmas spin. Well,
You out of all the people?
No, I actually did add a small little Christmas.
That's all it takes.
But
That's all it takes.
that was not on purpose. To remembering that
Yeah.
that was in the topic.
It's hard. December.
This is my December.
Really good song.
It just made me think
Wow.
of that.
Sad song. He's coming up the stairs. All right. It's called. Do I have a title for this?
Can you think of one on the spot if you don't?
He's a good claim.
Maybe one will come to you after you read it.
He's a good stair claimer. Yeah, maybe you guys can have suggestions. All right. Well, yeah, we'll just talk about it when I'm done.
Do you need to make sure he's okay?
He's a good climber.
Well, I
He is
know,
a
but
good
if he
climber.
decides to fall back like my father,
But
We'll
he's
have
a
to go
good.
get him.
and he goes thump, 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 crash, crash, crash.
When that
Can you
happens-
put that on the soundboard? Just put that. Thump, 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 crash, crash, crash. Bob! That was amazing.
Yeah. Oh.
I think somebody grabbed him.
He did not like it.
All right, here we go. Christmas morning was born cold and dark. In the small Montana town, old, dried, crystallized snow lay on the grass, trees, and roofs as if the town had been left uncovered in a freezer for too long. Jimmy thawed awake, as he did every morning at 5 a.m. While most children lay fast asleep, dreaming of flying reindeers, jingling with magic, Jimmy, dutifully dressed for his daily paper route. Sitting on the edge of his bed, slipping on warm socks, he noticed a wrapped gift placed on the foot of his bed. He unwrapped the dinner plate-sized lollipop. Even in the moonlit room, the brightly colored swirls seemed to pop. The first lick of sugar sent his early morning mind fog swirling upward. Jimmy looked to his doorway to see his parents smiling sleepily back at him. "Thanks," Jimmy said enthusiastically, all sleep replaced with excitement for what this Christmas day would bring. Sitting in the car between houses, Jimmy did a lot of thinking. He would sprint out of the car with the paper rolled up as fast as he could, the Christmas spirit giving his legs extra speed. Then he would throw the paper and sprint back. "This is going to be my fastest time, Dad," stated Jimmy to his father excitedly. His father chuckled. "You're excited about today?" "Mm-hmm," came Jimmy's muffled response as he licked his swirl lollipop. Jimmy thought while he licked and drove to the next house. He thought about how cool it was his dad was helping him on Christmas. Lick. He thought about the fun he would have with his siblings and the love that would show up in the giving and jolly making. Lick. He thought of his mother cooking and care for each member of the family. Lick. Jimmy's musings had caused him to lick consistently in one spot, so the lollipop had a slight crescent shape on its edge. Jimmy smiled. Smiled at his no longer perfectly circular lollipop as they pulled up to the last house. Jimmy grabbed the last paper and practically flew up the front path to the porch. He didn't even throw the last one, but placed it neatly on the welcome mat like a gift. Jimmy stood up and turned, but a child's scream stopped him in his tracks. Jimmy smiled briefly, the thought of a child's Christmas morning delight warming the air around him. The scream persisted. The hair on the back of his neck stood to attention. Jimmy sprinted around the little house. Someone was in serious danger. Jimmy slid to a stop, unshoveled snow parting like the Red Sea. Jimmy peered through the cracked window in the back door of the house. In the kitchen lay a woman, bloody and bruised. A man straddled her body, punching her face. Three girls huddled together, screaming in the corner. Any warmth in Jimmy from Christmas, his family, or his first gift froze inside of him. His father's presence seemed to force heat back into him. Jimmy's face suddenly flush with red-hot emotion, churning like lava in a volcano just before it erupts. Jimmy, go to the car now. His father's words taking the place of his brain, allowing his heavy feet to work. Jimmy made his way back to the car as screams replaced bells in his head. Police cars pulled up, sirens flashing, sirens blazing, lights flashing, causing the boy's mind to swirl around in unimagined territory. Jimmy was never conscious of the thoughts that danced in his head around everyone having a Merry Christmas until they lay before him, no longer breathing. In the death of a child's innocence, Jimmy became well aware of those fantasy thoughts now. Jimmy's mind didn't stop swirling for the rest of that Christmas. It swirled on the drive home. It swirled around the laughter and joy of his family as he walked back into his house. It swirled as he threw his lollipop away, never tasting it again. The bright colors causing his stomach to tie itself into tight knots.
Well, that's a very sad Christmas story.
Some pretty vivid imagery with the man on the woman beating her and the three girls standing in the house. I put me in that narrator's eyes viewing it.
The contrast between Jimmy sucking on his lollipop and thinking about all the good things in his life and all the joy created from that, and then directly going into the next room, seeing what he's seeing, and all of that going away. Pretty jarring contrast.
Yeah. I wrote that because I often hear how difficult holidays are for people, and I think it's great. It's a joyful time. It's fun. It's exciting.
It's like sucking on a lollipop.
especially if you have a family that's like Jimmy's. It's a good time of year. But there are a lot of people who don't, and with marketing and commercials and messaging that's out there about holidays and family, it gets really, really tough for people. And so, I mean, it's one thing our family's not perfect, and we've got our stuff. We've got high emotions. We've had some things happen in the past, but nothing like that in that story. And overall, it's pretty good. And I just think it's important to acknowledge the real pain and the real suffering that people experience through the holidays.
I appreciate, Jeff, you putting that idea out there in a way that made me, think about so many people that are hurting around the holidays for loss in their life or with a family member or a loved one. I've had clients that were sick over the passing of a pet, and it was their whole life, and it happened during the holidays, and it caused that holiday to be not as joyful and happy as it had been. And I think that was really well written in a I think a simple way, but very well written, helping me to be more aware that people are hurting during the holidays.
Yeah, there is kind of like a forced happiness around the holidays. Like it has to be a certain way, otherwise it's not right.
Well, yeah, and I think that's part of marketing, right? You get people to sort of get sugar clouded heads in a way, and then they just sort of open their wallets and spend money, and that and unfortunately that messaging, although it's not evil, it's capitalism, it's trying to make money, it discounts a lot of the reality that exists during this time. So
Did you? 'Cause I'm thinking of Jimmy as you, like being able to see both worlds, and because of what you do. Do you remember a time where you had that, like when you first saw that, like in fully saw it?
Like the other side?
Like Jimmy did, yeah. Like you looked in the window and saw that for the first time.
I'm trying to think of like a holiday experience that contrast has been in my head. I think it's mostly just sitting with people and trying to understand them, and then seeing the realities of their life and their circumstance and what they're carrying inside. And this time of year, naturally, that kind of stuff comes up, and so I think it's the peek in that window through the work that I do. The story was inspired by true events, but not that I experienced. It was a friend of mine that you guys know, John. He told me that story on our hike in the Wind Rivers. That's a story that I took license and made it my own, but that's a story that really happened to him. He had a paper out, and that experience really happened to him as a kid.
Yeah.
So
that just came to me that my parents, 24, 27 years old, lost their baby daughter in late October, and her birthday was December 9th.
Well, we always were
18th.
told
December
it was the
7th.
17th
No,
when we got married.
it is the 17th.
Yeah.
Grandma and Grandpa Tanner's
Was a different.
oh, that's right.
Debbie died the end of October, and her birthday was December 17th.
So
And
she
my
would have been a
parents-
year old
yeah.
on the 17th.
My parents went through that holiday, that Christmas,
Yeah,
without their
With an empty
child.
crib.
Yeah.
that had to be very rough.
Yeah.
Man.
So
Title suggestion: a black and white holiday.
looking through the window.
All right, Abby, you're up.
You know, it's interesting how life is so much like your story, in that you wake up one day and you think, what a beautiful day we have ahead of us, and something tragic will happen, or something that we're not expecting lays in front of us.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
And that day turns from bright to dark.
And often just like that.
Yep,
Mhm.
in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about how, like, if I ever had a moment in my childhood where, it, I don't know, if you have a moment in where it just kind of, that childlike wonder and innocence, I guess, is there, and then another moment it's not. It happens in a blink of an eye, or it can happen in a blink of an eye.
On a lighter note, I remember when I ruined my first son's Christmas.
You ruined it?
Yes. Do you remember when it happened? So we always had the girls.
I think your
Do you remember what it was?
Your highlighting of the negative is more in your head than it is in mine.
Right. But I know you were so upset at the little boy. You were so upset at me.
Yep, and every time I put on boxers now, I just get so pissed off. My mom ruined my life.
I thought you played his pet turtle.
Oh.
That's true.
What's the story?
So normally we'd all kind of have matching pajamas, but I thought he was growing up and he wouldn't want to have pajamas like the
I was
girls.
growing up, I was
Probably 10,
12.
12. And so,
I thought she was going to say you were 2 or 3.
no, I thought he would not want to wear the same pajamas as the girls or like the girls, so I bought him boxers and a t-shirt. And the poor boy, he was just devastated wearing these stupid little boxers.
Well, imagine, I come out for family picture, everybody's dressed except for me. I look like Grandpa. I just on his way out.
I don't remember that.
Oh, that's funny. It's in my head. It's one of those, like, you know.
You guys all get pajamas. You're wearing underwear.
No, I mean, they were Christmas boxers, but they were boxers.
Plaid with
Yeah.
threaded.
Jeez.
I think you should do that one year. You and Jeffrey just wear boxers.
I think we need to reenact that and record
Put
it.
all the boys in
Is there
boxers.
photos somewhere?
No, well, yeah, there probably is, but his little face, I thought I destroyed him from that moment. It was terrible. I knew as soon as he opened them, I thought, oh, that was a really dumb mom move.
In the future family sitcom, that'll be one of the flashbacks.
That'll be a moment.
Somebody will mention boxes and Jeff's eyes just go, boo.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, all I had to say, and he knew exactly of that moment. How many Christmases have we had?
No, the only reason I know exactly because you tell that story a lot.
I haven't told.
I've never heard that
I've heard it
story.
many
I
times.
don't think I remember.
I've never heard that story.
Oh, I haven't heard it.
Oh, see.
Every Christmas,
We were
guys.
I heard it a lot.
That's not true.
I heard it many
I
times.
don't remember hearing the. Maybe I have heard it once or twice, but not every
You were
Christmas
there.
for 35 years.
Yeah, but he didn't remember things like I do on
Yeah.
some things, apparently.
Well, I mean, you didn't
Well, all
remember
I can
it.
tell you is that elephants never forget.
All right, Abby.
Okay. My poem, I guess, is called The Home Made of Christmas Spirit. Walls made of flour, molasses, eggs, baking soda, ginger, salt, and sugar. It stands up upon cardboard. I'm sorry, I'm saying that. It stands upon a cardboard base. Little hands decorating it with snow made of vanilla icing, piecing the pieces together, hoping they'll stay. Strands of little gumballs used as bright Christmas lights. Long strokes of icing as perfect little icicles. Licorice ropes for window panes. Candy cane swirls surrounded by green frosting as the ideal wreath. Sour strips for the doors with a gumdrop doorknob. Many candy cane arches on the corners of the house. For the scenery, a beautiful ice cream cone covered in green frosting for a tree. The path of many starbursts guiding you to the door. A frozen lake made of frosting and sprinkles. To complete this Christmas activity, the little hands do a light dusting of powdered sugar for the most wholesome winter wonderland. What a flawless home for a little gingerbread man. The end.
It's cute. I could picture the gingerbread house all.
Yeah, I love all the color and the shapes and all the descriptions of the sweet parts of that whole little house, that gingerbread house, with the gingerbread man being the final touch, right? It was really good.
Gingerbread houses are something that, like, I feel like a lot of families do. I don't feel like we've ever really done that as a tradition.
No.
Not as a tradition, but
we should try that. Because
we've done it a few times. Do you remember doing it ever?
They don't stay up. Yes, because I bought the
I
Pampered
think
Chef.
we've done it like once or twice.
Well, when
I mean,
And probably like
these
once
guys,
or twice when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when these guys were little, I actually bought the Pampered Chef so I could make. There were forms
We
like,
still
and
have
you'd
those.
pour. No, they're not around. If you know where they are, that'd be awesome.
I have seen them.
I actually think I've seen
they're
them
in the
too,
garage
in
in
the
a box.
Cool.
That would be cool. But anyways, you pour the gingerbread on it, cook it, and it actually forms the sides of the houses with windows and everything. Really cute bricks and stuff.
We should do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
That
it would be fun. Most
Mm-hmm.
likely, my experiences with gingerbread houses is they cave in because the frosting is it. You have to get it. Oh,
It's an
I
engineering
saw.
problem.
Abby knows.
I saw a video. They do melted sugar and then it holds it. It's like glue.
What has been your experience, Abby, with gingerbread houses?
We do them every year. My
Mhm.
family does, and we do graham crackers, and then we hot glue them together, and
Oh,
then
well,
we
that
could
would stick
paint.
'em.
Then we decorate them.
So that's a big
Just can't
Uh,
eat 'em.
So you don't eat them.
It's like kid proofing us.
So-
We don't eat them. we eat
Dad's,
the candy off.
Dad's uncle's family, don't they
Which
build
family?
a huge
Dixon?
Darcy's?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean Dixon. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they would build a huge one, like a giant one, right? And then they keep it all winter.
They
and-
build a huge one?
yeah, big
Mhm.
one.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I don't know
remember
how
seeing it in
big,
the living room.
But you know, a nice big one. And then it was their tradition to then launch it. They would launch it every year at the end of the holidays.
How would they do that?
We're gonna have to ask. I think they'd shoot it like a boomerang.
Big rubber bands.
Shoot it.
Shoot
Shoot
like
Wait,
a
like a-
can
slingshot.
you explain that sentence to us?
Explain it.
Well, like, cause I did
No.
one time.
Just
like,
No,
Just
shoot it like a
like-
boomerang.
Bro.
What does that mean?
What's a boomerang?
What does shoot it like a boomerang
Well,
mean?
or like a polting, like a
Catapult.
Have any fun?
like a catapult. Like a cat, like I did one time. I did a contest. I don't know if you remember this. I did a cantaloupe contest
Where
where
you roll it down the hill?
rolled it down the hill, but they also
And
shot it.
machetes.
They shot it, but I won that contest.
You
Wasn't
almost
I
won or
own?
you did win?
I
Isn't that
won.
right?
I think
won
you
that.
did
I
win
think
one.
I won, and I stayed
Nice.
there long. Dad wasn't there. It was you and the kid, me and
I
you.
remember you rolled it down.
Kept rolling it down, and I won this contest. It
You had
was-
to get it down
A certain
in,
way,
in
like-
a full candle.
yeah, and it had to land, and
'Cause it
I
had
don't remember.
Different things that could ruin your candle.
Yeah, but anyways, they also had catapulting, not maybe slingshotting, but
Not boomerang.
it's like a
I
boomerang.
think a boomerang is like this thing that comes back to you. In
Oh,
Australia.
I think she's had to get confused.
It just clicked.
Imagine a house.
She threw that word away a long time ago. But it just returned.
It just returned.
It's like a
That's
like a catapult, like a shooting thing.
Yeah.
That's a slingshot.
Yeah, a slingshot, but it would have to be really big. I don't know how they did, but I don't know exactly how they fire it off.
But they would destroy it in
I'm told
some way,
that they
probably.
do that. Yeah.
Throw it off their roof, maybe.
I don't know what they did, but anyways, that was something I heard them talking about.
Maybe they take little hammers to it.
Maybe little
Little
like
elves.
elfie hammers.
It's not working. Go ahead.
Was that like the first thing that came to your mind with the topic was gingerbread house?
No. I was gonna do a horror story,
Oh,
I really like
happy
your first
Christmas.
idea.
but I didn't want to write it because it was too long. So I wrote a poem, and I was like, "Oh, wreaths on candy cane." Or yeah, I was thinking of gingerbreads.
My our family has done salt dough ornaments every year for a long time. It's not gingerbread houses, but it's a similar idea. Really like that tradition.
Yeah, we started that in Ione, but we didn't probably do that every year. But I got that book from.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I have an official book, and I wish I could remember her name. She wrote a book about doing it, and we did that. I don't know that we did it every year, but
Remember the first salt dough ornament that year that we did in Florida, and the salt dough melted because of the humidity into our Christmas tree
she,
and killed it.
yeah,
Killed the tree.
Yeah.
They
Oh my-
dropped
Yeah, so
the
we didn't know they had melted off the.
humidity.
hooks.
Yeah, had to
'Cause the
moisten
humidity.
them all
So
Came
where
off
did
the
it?
hooks.
It fell
into
they
the
fell
water.
into the water
water.
and it
And I
killed the
could
tree.
not
Just,
figure
like,
out
dried
why
the
this
tree was
fresh
dying.
tree. We'd never had a tree die before.
No.
Could not figure out why this tree was dying until we took it out, and I dumped the water out, and we've had like 3 ornaments in the.
It was
That's so funny.
I was so sad because they were like cute ones.
Yeah, they're really cute.
Well, and the funny, I mean, how interesting, right? Different parts of the United States to live in. You didn't know the
Yeah, we had no
humidity
idea.
would do that.
Yeah.
All right, Mom. You're up.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie smoky. That book is shiny.
Careful there. Sparkly.
Should have moved it.
I told you.
I mean,
I
it
told
wasn't
you.
moved enough.
Audley told me where to move it.
All right. Well, this is on a happier note than Jeff's, but
It's gonna be hard to be sadder than mine.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Well, some of us might
Tragic.
try.
well, I kind of like.
That's so good.
Foreboding the future of it.
All righty.
Oh, I cannot breathe.
All right. Ellie Pop jumped up and down very excitedly. It is time to decorate the tree with her family finally. First, Dad carefully finds a place for each light. Ellie hands him more strands with delight. Oh, it is so beautiful, but not yet done. Mom carefully hands out ornaments one by one. Ellie takes a fragile one, and Mom calls it special. She hands it to Dad to find a good place to nestle. Ellie loves the stories that come with each one, memories of trips and events that were so much fun. The Disney castle and Jack bring joy to her eye. She loves hiding the penguins for someone to spy. Mom and Dad's first is placed near the top. Many have been found in a small gift shop. Homemade salt treasures are hung too, some from years past, others are new. A bell from Europe and a Sasquatch from Oregon. Truly, there is not a tree for comparison. Ellie hangs Christmas balls with a candy swirl. Her sisters hang silver and gold snowflakes that twirl. At last her brother secures the star. With dancing lights, it can be seen from afar. Ellie Pop stands back to gaze and admire at the beautifully decorated tree by the fire. She looks around at her family so dear, with eyes full of wonder and cheer. Christmas time is truly her favorite time of the year.
I think it's really cool to capture the magic of Christmas through a small child's eyes. I don't know if you can get closer to the magic of Christmas than that.
It's just so cute because I can picture you guys downstairs doing, like, I can picture every little thing. And I thought I was the only crazy one who explained every one that came out, every ornament, because I always tell everybody what each ornament is, and I love that you tell your kids what the ornaments are. That's really fun.
I love how you expressed meaning through experience with the way that the tree was decorated and with the ornaments that were decorated, that you shared in that. There was a memory with everyone, a memory or some event or some place that it came from. That's really fun to think about what you can have on the tree. That brings so much memory.
That's exactly what I said.
Is it?
Just you said it much more deeper than I did.
It's just the idea that came with you when you read that.
Yeah, it's one thing that I really, really love, to look at the tree and see the memories that we've created over the years, and our kids get to see that too. And
That's a really cool thing because it's special for me every time I pull out ones, because I have things from my grandparents and that are over 100 years old now, and that were given to us for our wedding or on our first tree. And, those are now almost 41 years old. It's crazy to think how much time. I mean, by the time we pass, there's so much history in the ornaments. It's crazy to think about that.
Does anybody know the actual purpose or meaning of why we decorate trees? I don't.
It was a pagan tradition, and I can't remember exactly why.
I want to know why. Like, what was the purpose? What we've lost?
I think it was something like
I think they left a gift or
evergreens
something.
keep bad spirits out.
Is that why they put them in the house then?
Yeah.
Oh.
Something like that. I think I remember.
I wouldn't.
Something like that.
I don't know for sure, but O Tannenbaum. I think it comes from a German. Yeah, and it's so interesting that there are millions, I would think, millions of households and families that celebrate the holidays with a Christmas tree, and how many opportunities come to gather around a Christmas tree and talk about memories based on the ornaments that are put on the tree. And it's happening all over. All with so many families and so many individuals. And when I go into homes and meet with people that I've never met before, and they have a Christmas tree up, and I comment, "Oh, that tree is beautiful." Almost every one of them say, "Yeah, and this ornament is, special," or we put this tree up every year. And there's always a comment about the tree that makes it unique to that family, to that individual.
Well, it's funny. My mom always had really cute, like, ornaments and stuff. She always found really cute ones. But she never had a story to tell me about them. I just started doing that because every time I pulled one out as the kids got bigger, this was the first one we hung on our tree. This was the first little ornament. Jeff is actually the only one I didn't carry that tradition on. But when he was little and I'd gone to a craft fair, I bought this little ducky, a little hand-painted ornament. And, so I can pull them out. And I remember exactly the stories. But my mom didn't ever share things like that about her tree. And I think it's kind of cool that you do the same thing as me. I think that's cool.
Did you do the colored chains when you were a kid?
Oh, we made them
when you
for
glue
school.
the paper. Did you do that? Did your mom and dad do that with you guys when you were a kid?
No, my mom wanted the tree to probably look nice. More than, I don't know.
I started out wanting our tree to look nice, and then over time I realized that didn't really matter as much to me as what was on it, like the memories that we shared. And it didn't need to look uniform. I think
Our tree is not uniform.
our tree is not uniform.
Yeah, but that's what's so cute.
It has a few like bare holes on it this year, and that's one thing that I really love too. Is I think life does that to you. You learn that little things don't matter, and there are things that do. Like last year, I would have never picked a double-headed tree. I wasn't there to pick
That's the only
it.
reason I did it, is because you weren't there.
But I was, in the hospital with Augie, and but when I came home, that didn't matter to me at all. It was just the fact that we had one, and that we could be together and decorate it together. That was the most important thing to me. So I think just life does that to you.
I think life offers.
Offers it, yeah, it does. You don't necessarily always
Everybody
take
takes
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think for me, it doesn't matter how old we get. It's a blessing to get to have our kids around and their families, and that's my hope someday, that we'll be able to all be in the same space again.
I think it's really neat too that within our families that we've kind of had this tradition of hiking up into the mountains and finding a Christmas tree to cut down and to bring back. And that's, I think that's becoming much less frequent in Christmas tree acquiring, to go out and actually cut one down and bring it back.
Yeah, I don't know what the percentage is, but Spirited tells us. What does he sing about the trees? the plastic
This
trees.
teaches us all about marketing.
That's right.
I can tell you that in these busy weeks of insurance around the holidays, and I probably went into 30 homes last week, and there was only a couple of Christmas trees that were cut down in those 30 homes. Only a couple, maybe a handful. The rest were artificial. They were artificial trees. Yeah, so it's kind of a neat tradition.
Crazy.
I think we have.
To think that plastic trees have become more of a thing.
It's a convenience.
Well, I grew up with one.
You grew up with plastic trees?
Only plastic, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or like fake, yeah.
Yeah.
The first one was a big white one that was flocked.
Flocked. Yeah.
Flocked.
I think flock trees are pretty. I'd like to flock a tree one year.
So,
Gauge that?
Well, I guess we have the snow outside with the flock tree, but
Grandma and Grandpa Allen.
They would do it every year. I remember them.
Just about. He'd flock his own with a vacuum.
Grandpa Allen would flock a tree almost every
Do you know the process of flocking a tree?
I do.
Well,
So there's a bag.
What do they use?
No, Grandpa had a
Put it in a
bag.
vacuum.
No, there's a bag of this.
Powder. Well, I don't know. Snow.
No, no. I think it was called flocking dust.
Really?
That's the only comedian that laughs at a joke.
He laughs before he even says it.
That's the funny thing. Wait. He pushes you aside.
He's like, prepare yourself.
So whatever that was called.
Do you know, how do they get it to stick?
They shoot it out the back.
Actually, that's
Why do you
true
keep saying that?
because it's true, Jeff.
No, but that's not even part of my question.
So this bag, and I won't say what it was again,
What?
but this
Flocking
bag
dust.
had the white stuff in it,
Yeah.
and there was there was this tube that went into a bucket of water, and then Grandpa reversed the flow of air from the vacuum cleaner,
Yeah.
and it forced that out with the water that made the white dust stick to the tree.
Yeah.
And he would do it in the garage,
And it made a mess.
and it was beautiful.
So there's something with that dust that it would get wet and then stick, and then it would like stick.
Yeah, and it looked like snow.
And it looked like snow.
Maybe we should all flock a tree together.
It'd be fun.
I would.
We
You
could
know,
do
I'd
it in
Fun that
pink.
family.
I've wanted to do one just because my dad did it.
Well, maybe next year we
I think
can
it'd
try
be
it.
fun to try to learn the process.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
This is the weirdest Christmas.
I had no idea this was
Do you remember?
supposed to be Christmas.
Pop, do you remember?
I thought it was candy
It's
swirl.
December.
We did clarify.
Nobody
Yes,
clarified it in
yes.
my brain.
On the podcast, I am on recording.
I understand, but how did I miss the whole thing?
You miss a lot of things, but that's okay.
Hey, do you remember our wedding night?
Whoa.
No, not that.
Not the flocking.
Not the flocking.
Do you remember the reception at the house?
Let's not talk about that.
But there was a beautiful flock tree.
No, that's not. It
Yes,
was
it
just a
was.
regular tree.
No, it wasn't.
No, let's not
We have
discuss
pictures.
No,
Yes,
it's
pictures.
it is
not
white.
fun.
Well, we have pictures. We can
It's
figure
There
this
is
out.
no,
No, it's
pictures from
white.
our wedding.
It's white
Maybe
and
somewhere.
it had red bulbs
Jeff?
and red ribbons.
Can I explain something to you? Because I have a vivid memory of this. I don't believe it was flocked. And the ornaments,
We're
the
red.
decorate.
Yeah.
Yes, but not the color of our wedding. And we could not change those.
Burgundy and mauve. No. Right?
All I know is it wasn't plucked. I
Okay.
don't believe.
All right.
So it's not a subject to talk
We
about.
will let the people listening know.
Well, honestly, there's no wedding pictures. There might be
there
one.
is some wedding pictures. I've seen wedding pictures of you.
You have.
You have a whole book.
Yeah.
No.
Can you reproduce that noise you just made?
It's like
Maybe we should get married again and do it all over the way you want it.
that would be so cool.
I want to get a
No,
dress.
that would be hilarious. It
Very
would be
sweet.
funny. No, it would be.
I think it'd be great.
I think it'd be very sweet to renew our vows. And my whole family could come there.
That's really bad.
Then they would be there.
Yeah, they could have the first time.
Oh jeez.
They were
Maybe
there.
talking about flocking would bring out so much emotion, right?
I don't know. I don't think we're too emotional about it.
We should. It's gonna be 41 years. We could hire somebody to do. We could have
Let's-
Jeff do it. He's our oldest.
Let's do it on our 50th.
No,
All right.
we'd be way too. Oh, whoa! What is the problem,
Papa, you're up.
Papa?
What?
Don't.
Gosh, I need a tissue.
No tissues here.
Oh. Are my glasses over there? Thank you. Well,
Oh boy.
I've got to start by sharing an experience that I had this morning. And before I do, Peyton, can you see that nutcracker behind me?
Help you out.
Just let me know if you can see it.
Yep. Yeah, you can see it.
Okay, great.
Actually, not centered.
You love the nutcrackers, son.
I do love nutcrackers.
Mama used to buy you nutcrackers.
Well, look how many you have. You got a whole piano top with them
And shelf.
and a shelf.
It's our cute
And
pink
where
ones.
do you have my favorite fishing one?
In
Fishing.
the other one.
I love that one. Anyway, I wanted to share an experience with you, and this is for everyone, but especially for my family. So this morning, when
Well, I was just laughing because I was thinking we're all family.
that's what I said, yeah. But there's also other people listening.
Oh, you mean outside of the? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, got it.
Yeah.
She just boomeranged the idea.
Sometimes we have to help each other this way.
It's only gonna
But-
get worse.
This morning, when you and I were talking, before I went to the cold plunge, you said,
Please don't die. I won't be able to find you. No.
say that a little louder.
What?
Yeah, say that a little louder, so that everybody can hear.
I said. You want me to say what I really said?
Yes.
I said, don't dive in
Right.
because you probably would have something hit something or whatever, and then if you die,
Right. And what did
no one will be there.
And what did I say? I said, "Come with me."
And then I
Right.
said, well, I can't save you because I would die if I jumped in from the shock of the water.
Right.
So
You
then
just
we
have to
would
watch
both
it.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to
So-
call 911. And
Yeah.
then he said, it's okay, it's cold, so I'll probably stay alive longer.
Alive longer
And
because
then
of
they
the
can
cold
save
water.
him.
Yeah.
This was our conversation.
Well, if he dived in and died, it doesn't matter if anybody was there to save him because he died.
Well, that would be sad because he'd die all by himself. Or
Well, no.
sadder if I'm standing up.
If he died, it's done. You
Yeah,
okay.
there's
No. Do you know in cold water, sometimes the heart slows?
No, I get that, but the way you said it is, if he dives in and dies, no one
Well,
will
you know,
be
the
there to
shock.
save him. But if he dives in and dies, it doesn't matter if anybody is there to save him.
No, shot.
All right. So this is great because this is kind of
Oh,
our.
God.
This was our conversation, right?
Yes, it was.
And so I wanted to share with you what happened after.
He's
So-
still
He
alive.
didn't die, so.
Apparently. So I got there at the cold plunge, and the last thought that entered my mind when my head hit the 37-degree water of the Logan River was you.
Everything I just said to you?
No. How grateful I was for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then when I got out after swimming, I don't think I stayed in 5 minutes. I swam back and forth 4 times. It's probably 3, maybe 3.5. But when I got out, and you guys know this because you did it after I did, my skin was just on fire. And I ran around the geese, and they gaggled at me. And I got back to the bridge and got my white towel out and to wipe my skin dry, and it just hurt my skin to wipe it with that towel. But I was grateful in that moment. This is kind of what was going through my head, that I was alive. I mean, because we'd had this conversation, right? And I was a little worried.
You were?
That
Honest?
No, but
You know who you've been married to for 41 years?
I was a little worried that I might not survive.
Oh, brother.
But anyway, I was grateful to be alive. And after kind of honking at the geese,
Can you show us?
which I enjoyed doing,
How do you honk?
honk. I realized after I was walking back from the plunge by myself how much better the cold plunge is when I have my family around. And I was grateful for that awareness. And then I drove home, and on my way home, when I came around the corner on 8th East, I saw my neighbor out in his field playing fetch with a couple of his dogs, and it made me smile. And I realized how grateful I was to be aware of life and that it was good. It was just good. That was my experience with the cold plunge this morning. So, and I just wanted to share that with you. All right.
I don't think there's anything that quite will, at least for me, makes me feel alive and is grateful for life than a cold plunge.
Yeah,
Really.
I know. I agree.
When you get out of that water, it's just like,
Your mind's opened,
More
your
alive than ever.
body's, on fire, your heart's beating. It's just good.
And there's
It's
like
good.
a profound sense of clarity that
Yeah,
washes over you.
yeah. It just opens your mind up. All right, well, the title of this is Candy Swirls.
Wow. That's a good title, honey.
you guys with sarcasm is thick.
Wasn't that what we were supposed to write on?
Yeah.
Okay. Candy Swirls. In a moment of self-reflection and awe, she stood regally, stage left, mere inches from entering the historic stage floor of the American Ballet Theater. The hustle and bustle of downtown, pre-Christmas flurry around Broadway and Wall in downtown New York was as far from her mind in her moment in time as the possibility of visiting Santa Claus at the North Pole could become her second childhood wish come true. Yet, here she found herself. Candace Jeanette Copeland, 28 years old, as she stood feeling the audience's silent focus as the rise and fall of the snowflake ballerinas flitter and flutter around the Snow Queen and Snow King rhythmically played out before her eyes to Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite, Opus 71. Suddenly, She was carried back in time as her mind slowly and gently pirouetted her 8-year-old self softly down into an auditorium seat in this very theater, with her grandmother by her side, mesmerized by the fluid, graceful dance played out before her, as the open-hearted, moving and evocative music held her impressionable young mind captive to a magical, mystical, faraway winter wonderland. As her eyes watched with childlike wonder as the night before Christmas played out before her. Clara, not much older than her, in the first movement, as no words were spoken, produces a musical and dance imagery of a family's gathering, as Clara's uncle Drosselmeyer, also her godfather, dances across the stage. Late for the Stahlbaum family Christmas party, but, to the delight of the children, Clara, Fritz, and Louise, who dance excitedly at his feet, awaiting gifts from their uncle. They receive 3 wind-up dolls, a ballerina, a harlequin, and a soldier. But, as Uncle Drosselmeyer and Clara saute in their pas de deux, he gently offers his godfather's gift, a toy nutcracker. Fritz promptly marches into the scene and in a fit of jealousy breaks the toy. In her sadness, Uncle Drosselmeyer magically repairs the nutcracker to Clara's delight as the Stahlbaum family dance their way across the stage before Candace's fascinating young eyes. The party participants dwindle, all retiring for the night, as Clara arabesques and chassés and pirouettes alone around an adorned Christmas tree, as candles flicker and embers glow, whispering visions of magical things. She searches lovingly for her prized nutcracker and, finding him softly, lays down at the hearth of a welcoming fire and begins to dream. Candace leans over and whispers into her grandmother's ear, "Nana, one day I will dance the Nutcracker Ballet." Candace, that's your cue." The caller shakes her from her memory days. As her first childhood wish is about to come true, and as the prima ballerina, adorned from head to toe with rhinestoned tiara gracing her perfectly bund hair, the pink silk bodice leotard embraces her graceful shoulders and arms gently stretching down to strong yet beautiful dancer's feet, with a custom embroidered rose tutu overlay highlighted with glittering crystals enveloping her dancer's core. She transforms into the sugar plum fairy as she rules compassionately and with much joy as queen over the scrumptious kingdom of sweets, chasséing with chocolate from Spain and pliéing with coffee from Arabia and pirouetting with tea from China and arabesquing with candy canes from Russia. Danish shepherdesses dance to their fluted magic, and Mother Ginger, with her 8 polichinelle emerging from beneath her behemoth hoop skirt to cross the stage, while beautiful flowers wistfully waltz with bright-colored heads. Ronde de jambe à terre, as her sugar plum fairy leg firmly circles beneath her, stretching gracefully to hold, tendu, as she porte à bras, her carriage of strong yet elegant arms and strong ballerina legs, to sauter, passer, et point, in a beautiful pas de deux, with her beloved cavalier Prince Nutcracker come to life, turning adagio in an intimate exchange to allegro, falling, spinning, twirling as candy swirls, jumping in aerial magic as she magnificently and elegantly fulfills her childhood dream, when, somewhere out in the darkened yet awestruck faces beyond the proscenium arched stage, they peer through the picture box into the magic and wonder of the ballet. As Anna whispers into her 12-year-old daughter Penelope's ear, as they both watch the prima ballerina perform before their admiring eyes. Pip, now that's candy swirling.
So was that a real story about Anna and Penelope going to the...
No.
Oh, I just thought when she talked to you on the phone if that was part of it.
No. But now that you brought that up, I called when I had this idea of candy swirling, Candace Jeanette Copeland.
And who is Candace Jeanette
She's a prima ballerina.
Copeland?
She's a prima ballerina in this story.
Oh, in this story. I thought she was real.
Well, one of the top ballerinas in the world, her last name is Copeland.
Oh.
Okay. But when I thought about this, I didn't really know. I knew about the Nutcracker a little bit, but I didn't really know about the verbiage and the descriptions of dance in the world of ballet. And so I called. Michael said that his daughter, Penelope, had been taking ballet for years. And I think she's 11 or 12 years old. And so I called Penelope, and we spent about 20, 25 minutes on the phone. And I got a whole list, a couple of pages of descriptions of these different ballet moves.
That's really cool.
And it was really
She had
fun.
fun telling you
It
more
was
about
really
it.
fun. She was so excited and so descriptive. This little 12-year-old girl, she was so descriptive about all these different things that she had learned in ballet. And that's why I put that
Now,
in
if
the
she's
story.
14, you'll have to apologize. But
I don't know.
yeah.
I think she's Emmy's age.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, is she? Oh, that's right.
I liked your pairing of the ballet move with, coffee or tea or candy cane. I liked that little part.
Do you know that in the Nutcracker suite, there are those images of these different foods around Christmas time that are dancing across the stage, and they're from different countries. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And Mother Ginger has this giant hoop skirt, and these little Polichinelle children come dancing out of, there's 8 of them. They come down dancing out from underneath her skirt.
Did you watch something again on it?
Just little clips on the Nutcracker suite.
Oh,
Yeah.
so.
So
You always have words that I'm like, okay, wait.
well, there's a lot of French in ballet.
Yeah.
A lot of French.
In the names of the ballet moves?
The moves.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did
Yeah.
it mostly come out of France? Ballet?
I'm not sure.
Huh. I don't know
Sure.
that question either.
But all the ballet words are French.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So it may have. I haven't researched that. But plie and pirouette and arabesque and chasse and sauté and
You said something about a point de.
pas de deux,
Pas de deux.
which means a dance for two. So when
Fun.
the Sugar Plum Fairy is dancing with the prince, who was the Nutcracker that the Clara was dreaming about when she fell asleep on Christmas Eve, the Nutcracker came to life. And the Nutcracker and the Sugar Plum Fairy had this beautiful pas de deux, dance for two. And so that's where that came from.
It's funny you listed some of the foods. I just recently listened to a podcast of a gentleman who said he's hated coffee his entire life, not his drink. But he took a trip to the Middle East, and their coffee, you said coffee from Arabia.
Arabia.
He said their coffee is nothing like anywhere else in the world, and it's incredible.
I wonder what the taste of it is. It
I have no idea.
must not be
It's
as
different.
bitter.
Well, doesn't coffee come from a bean?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So maybe the coffee beans in Arabia are
Or less
unique,
bitter or something.
or maybe they have a different taste that's better. I
He
don't know.
just said it was different.
Yeah.
So now he's searching for all the Arabian coffee to find if he enjoys
He
it.
only drinks coffee when he goes there.
Oh, it's interesting.
Who's been to a ballet?
I
I have.
I think we might have taken you when you were a boy.
Well, and they do a ballet version in the what's the Halloween dance show we took kids to? Thriller, right? There's a dance company. You took the kids.
We did.
They had a ballet section in there.
What? No, we went to Thriller the night the boys got into the medicine that we had to come home our first day.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
I don't know. I don't remember a ballet. We had to leave.
You went to Salt Lake, seeing the Halloween dance. Performance?
Vaguely, I remember going to a Halloween. Yeah. I don't really remember the show.
I don't remember this.
I think it was before Tallahassee's.
You guys would have been little.
But I think the Nutcracker Suite is one of the most famous ballets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Grandma used to love to go to that.
Yeah.
All right, Nana, you're up.
The chair break? What is the tape on here?
Oh, I forgot to take it off.
You put
Just an extra page.
It's okay. We'll get it off
It's a
later.
little wiggly. We'll have to fix that. Okay, so I apparently didn't get the Christmas memo.
Well, no, you did, but you forgot it.
I definitely did not hear it.
We are like pretty good sectioning us a good amount into December.
All I remember is Christmas swirling
Okay.
or swirls.
Candy swirls.
It's what?
Candy
swirls. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
But I did happen to put a small little section about Christmas,
Nice. Great.
but not on purpose.
Your subconscious
Just
did it.
accidentally.
Yeah.
The probability of that is
It's
crazy.
astronomical. Okay. All right. Let's see. What title should I do this? I could put like.
You want us to give you suggestions after?
Sure. All right. There was a girl who lived on a hill with her family, a mother, sister, brother, and father. She had so many sweet dreams to fill her head, but sometimes at night she would have sour dreams that would make her cower. She loved the song Sweet and Innocent by the Osmonds. Once when she was at the beach with her dad, they walked along the row of shops and found an amazing candy shop. She saw something she wanted so bad. She asked her dad. He said, "Not today," which made her mad. The girl loved Halloween because she could trick or treat up and down her long and winding street. She could barely make it up to her driveway, to the stairs, on the path to her front door, with her heavy pillowcase of candy. In the house, she would carefully dump the candy into a large mound on the floor, in hopes that something special would be there. One by one, she would look at what she had. If she found a Tootsie Roll and some sugar daddies in her mound, that was at least a success. When Christmas Eve came around, the brother and sister would sleep on the upstairs in the living room in hopes to stay awake long enough to hear Santa come. In the morning, they would run downstairs to see what was there. They would carefully take their stockings and reach inside to see the surprise that laid inside. The girl had hoped that her dad might have shared with Santa what treat she really wanted. She pulled each item out one at a time. A toothbrush, gum, a Mickey Mouse watch, so cute. Wait, I think this is it. She pulls it up. No, it's a big bouncy ball. Next, a box of Lifesavers with 12 rolls of different flavors: cherry, butter rum, wintergreen, tropical, peppermint, spearmint, orange, lemon, and wild cherry. Did I say butterscotch?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She would suck on all the different flavors for the next couple of months, and she loved every flavor. As the weather became warmer, then hot, the girl's birthday drew close. The girl woke up on October 17th and went out to the kitchen, and there it was, a giant jawbreaker. Her mother and father surprised her with what she wanted. She started licking her jawbreaker until her tongue felt a bit funny. The next day, she would start again. Day after day, she would lick away. The girl would have to take a break to keep the funny feeling on her tongue at bay. The girl wanted more than anything to see what was in the middle of the jawbreaker. She asked her brother to help her to get to the middle. So they hatched a plan with a hammer and a screwdriver. Her brother took the jawbreaker and placed it on the ground and told the girl to hold it still. He placed the screwdriver right on the middle, took the hammer and hit. With a loud thud, crack, and a squeal of laughter, the girl and the brother could not believe their eyes of what laid in front of them. Orange, yellow, blue, red. What glorious colors of candy swirls were right in the middle of the jawbreaker. They each grabbed a half and with a grin, each began to lick and lick until their tongues started to feel a little funny. Then they each placed their half of their jawbreaker on the dresser for another day.
I can just see you and Todd with, your big brother is helping you with a screwdriver and a hammer to break that jawbreaker off. Yeah, that was really cute.
Do you have your phone?
Yeah.
I'll show a picture of the true colors inside that jawbreaker. I don't know. Did we ever buy you?
It sparked a memory of, I want to say it was like a class field trip. You guys had bought me a really big jawbreaker. And I remember keeping it in my sock drawer or something.
Yeah, because you can't lick them all the way.
Right, and just get flatter and flatter. And yeah.
Do you ever remember having a big jawbreaker?
Maybe one time. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's a false memory or not, but maybe one time.
If I would have seen them when you kids were little, I probably would have bought you one because I loved
Well, I didn't realize that there was a connection for you. That's interesting.
my jawbreakers.
Yeah, I remember getting them, and then my tongue would be raw.
Raw.
Yeah.
I know.
And, I'd be like, and then you keep it. You keep it in your drawer to come back to.
Yeah.
And you're like, I will get to the middle.
No, that's what's crazy, right? You like
blue.
it goes like numb. I'm trying to find. I took a photo of what I wanted to show. That wasn't the right
That wasn't
one.
right. So, Pop, did you that year that you remember wanting to get a jawbreaker for Christmas? Were you really disappointed that you didn't get one for Christmas and you had to wait till your birthday?
Well, I kind of made up some of that
Oh,
stuff.
but that was really a
But-
fun idea.
But the thing is, I really did have like such a thing about jawbreakers, and I really wanted to know what was in the middle of them. And so you would try as hard as you could to lick and lick and lick, and finally they would like almost. They didn't rot, but they were just so old sitting there. You gave up licking them. And so it's true. Like you would keep these big jawbreakers trying to think that you could get to the middle to see what was actually in them. And the picture is really fun. I took a picture today. Middle of a jawbreaker.
My Google Voice doesn't work.
Oh,
Sorry.
Why does that?
I don't
not
know. I can't.
So I can't remember if knowing me and my brother, we probably actually did something like that, because that's the way my brother was. He loved like everything to do with, like, these are just a few of them you can see, but it swirls like in color, and that's somebody had licked that one for a while. They didn't even, that was like licked, because that's but like this one got cracked in half, and that's like greens and stuff. But it's like you never knew. You wanted to find out like what the color was in there. Like this one's a cool one. And anyways, it was a fascination of mine, and that's what came to me with the swirl, you know. But the talking about like Halloween, that stuff is true. As far as like each of my little stories, there's something of truth in them.
Did you get a Minnie Mouse watch?
Yes.
For Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then, you know, because you always had a hope that you would get what you wanted, right? And so my mom would, or Santa would to stuff the stockings, you know. And so when you pull out things, there's always things to pull out. And my dad always had to make sure Santa left us coal or a rock, because we weren't sometimes very good. I don't.
So sad.
We always.
You were normal. You were normal kids.
Yeah, but we always had that at the end of our stockings.
How many times have you seen the middle of a Jolly Rancher? A big Jolly Rancher.
A Jolly Rancher.
Jawbreaker.
A Jawbreaker.
Yeah.
How many times? I can't tell you. I've seen them a lot because I would give up.
I can't remember.
I mean, literally, you know, because they're like this big. And I mean, to see one, I just had to have it. Like, I loved the fact of, I just wanted to be able to lick it. And like fairs and stuff. And your tongue really does go like.
You know, there's been some serious injuries caused by jawbreakers.
Oh, choking.
Exploding.
How so? Do you know?
Mythbusters. If you know what Mythbusters is, they did an episode on it, and there was a kid who microwaved one.
Oh, okay.
And it heated up the inside, and when he put it in his mouth, the pressure of his jaw, like, caused
So it was
to
one that was
explode.
probably like this big, right? It was probably like that
No,
big.
it was like, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, but these, when I'm talking jawbreakers,
Well, then there was
they were like
Yeah,
this big.
no, I know, but then there was a girl that had one explode too, just from, I can't remember exactly, but I think it was just pressure.
They tested.
They tested it, and yeah, they got like 3 of them to explode in these different ways.
Well, I remember we tried to hit them with hammers, and they would just chip.
Yeah.
You had to have. You had to have something.
So hard.
Yeah, you had to have something that would, you know, break it open in a way, you know. And the funny thing is, the song, so I put that in for Sweet. You know, everything to be sweet.
Donny Osmond?
No, it was the Osmonds had a
Oh, the
song
Osmonds.
called Sweet and Innocent. All the time when I was writing this, I was like, there was a song. And I looked it up, and I was like, Sweet and Innocent, Osmonds. And sure enough, yeah. It was just funny what things come to your head when you're...
As your partner, your husband, it's really fun. And you've done this a few times in our podcasts, in our episodes. It's really fun for me to hear your memories of when you were a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really, I've really enjoyed that, to get a little bit of a picture in my mind of what you were like when you were 5 and 7 and 10. I've really enjoyed that.
Well, it's funny because I was thinking like trick-or-treating, my dad would go. My mom never went with us. But then as soon as I turned like 11 or 12, they just let you go. Go take off.
Mm-hmm.
You go with your group of friends down and up the hill, and our hill was long. It was steep. And, you know, you just come back so excited with all the candy and stuff. But, yeah, it's funny to think
Sugar
about.
Daddies and Tootsie
That
Tootsie
was
Rolls.
my favorite.
And you
the
still
little-
love Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah, and I still like Sugar Daddies. But I don't. Oh. You're my Sugar Daddy, honey. No. No, they're the little Sugar Daddies.
Yeah.
The suckers I liked too, but the little candies that that you would chew. I don't even know if they make them anymore.
They
Do
look
they
like
make-
they look like deer.
They look like
droppings.
a caramel, or deer dropping, but they're light. Yeah. So, anyways, fun
Yeah, that was fun.
thoughts that come to mind when you're. I don't know why. Whenever we do these little stories, I think of growing up.
My turn. I went the wrong way. I was the only one. But I'm the host, so it's okay. I have special privileges. Okay. This is a story called Candy Swirl Eyes, and it's based off of a dream.
Did you say candy swirl eyes?
Based off a dream I had, and the story came about while me, my dad, and Peyton were fishing in the Black Canyon. Out of a bright yellow taxi stepped a red-haired girl named Reeve. Her fiery locks caught the light as she made her way into a brightly colored, sweetly decorated Christmas candy store called Dream Treats. Inside the store dazzled with festive decorations and shelves brimming with candy of every imaginable type. Reeve wandered through the aisles, marveling at the array of flavors and textures, from gummy wreaths to chocolate-covered cranberries. The store was a sugary wonderland. As she browsed her bright blue eyes landed on an unusual piece of candy. It was shiny, silver, and shaped like an eye. In its center, a spiral of green and purple seemed to swirl outward. The moment her gaze met the candy, the spiral appeared to move, spinning hypnotically. Reeve blinked and whispered to herself, "That's weird," shaking off the strange sensation. She continued her search for her favorite treats. A short while later, she approached the counter with a bag of cranberry hazelnut chocolates and 2 bags of the intriguing swirl eye candies. The man at the counter, a middle-aged fellow with kind eyes, gave her a curious look as he rang up her items. "What emotion are you suppressing?" he asked suddenly. Reeve frowned. "No emotion," she replied curtly. She grabbed her bags, ready to dismiss the odd question. As she turned to leave, the man said softly, "The suppressed emotion wants to meet you." The words lingered briefly in her mind, but she shrugged them off as the doors closed behind her. Outside, she quickly flagged down another bright yellow taxi with the glowing sign, "Taxi number 556. Climbing inside, she buckled her seatbelt and gave the driver her home address. Settling into her seat, Reeve chuckled to herself. "I'll really need to get a car," she muttered. But as the taxi sped through the city streets, a strange unease settled over her. The flickering streetlights made the cramped interior of the cab feel suffocating. Her chest tightened and her heart began to race. She opened her mouth to tell the driver to pull over, but no sound came out. Panic surged as her body refused to respond. Her limbs felt heavy, her muscles locked in place. Thump, thump, thump. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. She stared ahead, her vision narrowing to the back of the driver's head. Suddenly, she realized the man wasn't driving at all. He was staring back at her. Reeve's breath caught as she locked eyes with him. His pupils were gone, replaced by blank, swirling voids of green and purple. His lips curled into a grotesque smile, revealing rows of sharp, white teeth. As she watched in horror, his face began to twist and shift, morphing into something no longer human. The creature's form stretched and contorted, its lengthy frame bent in impossible ways, joints cracking as its legs grew grotesquely long. Black, rotting flesh hung loosely from its bones. dripping in putrid strips. Its skeletal hands reached toward her, bony fingers wrapping around her jaw. The monster forced her head to meet its gaze. Its spiraling eyes bored into hers, green and purple spinning faster and faster. Reeves' mind screamed for escape, but her body remained frozen. Utterly powerless, the creature's long, decayed face leaned closer, its grin widening unnaturally. With a sickening crack, it began to crawl into her mouth. She felt her jaw stretch beyond its limits, flesh tearing painfully as the creature forced itself inside, one limb at a time. It invaded her, leaving nothing but its spiraling eyes burning into her mind. "Hello? Are you okay, miss?" Reeve jolted awake, gasping. She was back, in Dream Treats, standing in front of the counter. The man behind it was staring at her with concern. His hand lightly touched her shoulder. "What?" she stammered, disoriented. "Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I be?" Her voice was defensive, her eyes darting around the store. The man frowned. "You've been standing there staring at all those Christmas cranberry gumdrops for at least an hour?" Reeve blinked, glancing down at the colorful gumdrops in her hand. "I didn't even realize. Sorry for causing worry. I'm fine. I don't even remember staring." She quickly filled the bag with the candies, her hands trembling slightly. "All right," the man said cautiously. "Can I help you with anything else?" Yes," Reeve replied, handing him the bag. "And can I also get a bag of your peppermint hazelnut chocolates?" He nodded, ringing up her items. "Your total is $5.56. Reeve paid and thanked him before stepping out into the crisp night air. A strange sense of purpose washed over her as she walked away from the shop. For reasons she couldn't quite explain, she felt compelled to give her bag of cranberry gumdrops to someone else. It was Christmas season after all.
I like your Australian accents a lot.
Do you remember when we moved back from Tallahassee, you wanted to talk like, or have an accent when you went to school? Or even church. Was it church? Because you wanted people to think that you
You were from
had an
somewhere else?
accent?
Yeah.
That made me think of that. Funny. Anyway.
So was the dream that you described in that story your dream?
Not fully. The dream I had was I was in a taxi driving. It was the part with the demon thing. Yeah. I was in a taxi and we were driving down the road, and then I realized I couldn't move. And I was like looking straight ahead at the seat in front, and then the seat disappeared. And there was just this man who was just driving a taxi. He was driving, and then his head twisted all the way around. And I was there, and I couldn't move. And I was like, I think I'm dreaming. And as soon as I said that, the world kind of like disappeared, and I was back in the room, and I was upstairs sleeping. And I was like, but I was awake. And this man, as like the dream's disappearing, the man's staying there, but he's shifting into like this demon creature, and his face is elongating and becoming like demonic and scary. But I was thinking in my head, I was like, I'm dreaming and I can't move, so I can't really do anything about this. There's no point in being scared. and then it all like stopped, and then I was awake, and then I was back, and I could move again.
Because you described that so well, I believe that that's what happened. I mean, I can tell that that's what your remembering of that dream was, the way that you wrote it in your story. That was really good.
So is there a connection between the question asked about emotion to the girl Ray's experience in your mind as the author?
The connection I was making was when someone in my mind, suppresses an emotion, it has to come out in some way, even if you're not aware of it. And I kind of wanted to tell the story of this moment happening of just when she's looking at the eyes and then she moves on. Like that, just that one moment, all of this happens. And it's just that emotion that she's suppressing, trying to make itself known. And when it does, and then it finally like becomes one with her at the end of the story, it crawls into her and becomes her. She comes out with a sense of purpose and like, oh, I'm okay. I can put myself out and give instead of trying to deal with this suppressed emotion. But
you didn't have like a specific emotion in mind. It was just a suppressed emotion.
I kind of had a fear emotion in mind. The emotion of fear.
That makes sense.
I think the work that I do in the study I've done with emotions, I think it's very true to say when a human doesn't want an emotion, that's what they have. It's always following them. It's always there. It's always...
Give an example, Jeff, of an emotion, a certain emotion that you can show an example of that.
I mean, I think fear's an example.
Yeah.
It's just the internal process that seems to be true when we try to dam or block emotions. Metaphorically, what we have is just a door that's shut, and on the other side of that door is just a knock that never stops. It's always there. The second you can accept emotions and let them come and go, then you start to have a flow. You don't have a dam anymore. You don't have a blockage. And so yeah, I just like that the theme of that story touched on those ideas for me.
You're talking about like facing your fears? Like when you face your fears, then you don't have a block?
It's not necessarily facing fears. It's although that can be part of it. It's about allowing any emotion that's trying to come into your space, allowing it to come, allowing it to sit, allowing it to speak, and then allowing it to walk out when it's ready to. Not trying to force it, you're not trying to keep it out, you're not trying to keep it going. Your only job as a human is to make sure there's a chair that's open for whatever emotion needs to come.
So is that another way of saying trying to be aware of being present in the moment?
I think it's a key to being present. Because so if I take that metaphor and I'm in a room and I'm trying to keep the door shut, I'm trying to keep emotion out, I can't be in this space relaxed or focused. I have to focus on the door. I have to focus on keeping the door shut. And so that is what my life is. And therefore, the other parts of life are passing me by and I don't get to be a part of those.
Yeah, I think, well, another thing I was trying to say in that when the feeling of you can't move and you can't do anything about it, it's out of your control, the emotion's gonna be there no matter what. Mm-hmm. Like that thing is gonna appear and be there no matter what, and it's also going to force its way inside of you and you can't do anything about it, whether you realize it or not. And in this case, in my story, she didn't realize it. Whether you realize it in the moment or not, it's going to be there no matter what, and it's your job to accept it and accept that you are going to allow it no matter what. Another thing I was trying to say with that. All right, Peyton.
I'm not the host, so I can't use the other route.
True.
Facts.
Only for the host.
You should have done Peyton first. Didn't you? Aren't you the host?
Maybe he didn't want to do that.
Ew.
He gets to choose.
All right, this is called Normality. The sound of pounding little feet and excited laughter filled the once sleeping home. Christmas morning is unlike any other morning, Christopher thought. Christopher being the excited 8-year-old who had looked forward to this one morning every single day of this year. His feet added to the sound of his siblings hustling down the stairs, his mind focused solely on the treat-filled stockings and the presents under the tree that awaited him. Slipping downstairs, turning the corner, the room lights up. Sorry, the iPad's freaking out. The room lights up as the long-awaited treasures sit ready to be plundered. With a leap and a bound, he grabs his full stocking off the fireplace mantel, throwing it onto the couch to be scavenged through. His mother and father watching all their hard work paying off. Christopher pulls out the first object in his stocking. It's a gigantic candy swirl lollipop. At that exact moment, his parents remark, "Isn't it nice to have such a normal life?" Holding the colored lollipop tightly, saliva practically falling out of his mouth. His mind cracks as he views into the depths of his parents' comment. Christopher asks his first real question. Is this normal? Water rushing, trees rustling, and the slow crackle of an early morning fire signaled to the young Emmanuel that it was time to get up. Emmanuel being an excited 8-year-old living in the Amazon rainforest, he had been waiting for today since yesterday, searching the encampment for his father to be told what to do for his morning tasks. His eyes settled on a face that is shining through the flames of a fire. With a leap and a bound, he tugs at his father's leg. "Dad, what do you want me to do?" His dad responds, "Will you go fishing?" Handing Emmanuel a wooden spear. His hands hold tightly, admiring the craftsmanship of it. At that exact moment of admiration, his father makes a comment to another sitting across the fire. "Isn't it nice to be normal?" And begins his mind. Nice to be normal. His mind begins to turn its newly formed cogs, asking his first real question. Is this normal? What does it mean to be normal? In the face of the improbable, maybe it means to be sure that where you are at is okay. Maybe it means I know something more than you. I think that normal is something that can't exist unless you're willing to kill everyone else's existence. Normal is an evil word used to justify genocides. Hate's best friend, its most common accomplice. Normal is a mask that hides the absurd in a golden word. It looks different everywhere, but only because it's not real. How absurd is an 8-year-old holding a lollipop on Christmas morning? And how absurd is an 8-year-old holding a spear waiting to go fishing on Christmas morning? Stop and observe the normal things that surround your life. Observe them knowing the improbable nature of any of this happening. And stop using the word normal.
You said something in there about normal being justified for genocide or something, or war. Normal is an evil word used to justify genocides. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting idea. One group of people saying this is the way, and then forcing that upon another group of people, or claiming that other group of people doesn't fit their way, so they have to be killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's really what it is, and we're so willing to use that word.
Oh, yeah.
Normal. This is normal. Like, our family's normal. And that really is what justifies genocides. And if you look at it like that, how could you ever use that word?
Yeah.
What is normal?
What is normal?
Yeah, what is the definition?
No, I mean, I've often thought about that.
Yeah,
What
it's
is-
easy to say that question sort of philosophically, and I think there are millions of people in this world that would have this discussion with us and speak the same way, and drive themselves crazy trying to find normal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can't find normal.
No.
Right.
Like, you look around another corner. Wait, is that supposed to be normal? Then you look around another corner. Wait, is that supposed to be normal? And then,
For me, it goes back to I'll use your word, the evils, and not my word, of marketing.
mm-hmm.
Like that's the whole idea of marketing, is trying to tell you you aren't normal and you can get normal by, or special, or whatever the messaging is.
Yeah. Yeah. But special is being the best at normal. In people's eyes. That's really funny. It's a really funny sentence.
That's a weird idea.
It's like C.S. Lewis back in the 40s or 50s when he quoted this, saying, when all of the masses are heading toward the cliff, he who is running in the opposite direction seems to have lost his mind.
Mm-hmm.
He's
That's-
probably the only
that's
one
an
that's
interesting
kept his
idea.
mind.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I would argue all those people running towards the cliffs, they think, well, and maybe C.S. Lewis thought they're all running towards the same cliff,
Maybe.
but
they're not.
They're not.
They're
They're all
not.
running towards different cliffs,
And
and
maybe
C.S.
it was-
Lewis is running towards a different cliff.
Well, but maybe it's the idea of the masses or the following,
the followers.
the Pied Piper that's leading the mice over the precipice. It's the idea of people just following people because they think that that's the norm.
Yeah.
It's the idea of we're all running at different cliffs, but I want to make sure that everyone thinks that I'm running at the same cliff that they are.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself running away from the masses going toward that cliff, they think that you have lost your mind
well,
because you're going in the opposite direction.
I think the coronavirus was a perfect example of that.
Exactly.
Because, it became a thing that you stood 6 feet from people, you wore your mask. If you didn't wear your mask, you were yelled at. Or Sam, he would pull his mask down, he'd be hit with a water bottle on the bus. There was just craziness going on if they thought you weren't following the rules. If you were the one turning the other way, the group would condemn that. It's such a crazy time, but we kind of went through a thing of that.
Yeah.
Truly. And it was weird to find out where you thought you needed to be. It was tricky because it tricked your mind. Should you run or should you run that way?
Well, and how many people didn't get the vaccine versus did?
Right.
I don't know the exact numbers, but I would be willing to bet it would be close to 50-50.
I don't have any idea if there's got to be
It'd be
something.
interesting to know.
And that would indicate that the people that you're looking at and that you're saying we're just following, there's a 50% that didn't do it. So are you just following?
Well, I don't know. That's the thing, right?
So what's your definition of normalcy?
That word
in
should
that
just be
moment?
banned. The word should be banned.
Because it
Words should
doesn't,
be cut out of our dictionary.
I don't
because
think anybody's
it shouldn't
normal.
exist.
What is normal?
It shouldn't
It
exist.
shouldn't exist.
Yes, because it's not something that exists, so it shouldn't exist.
I agree
I just want
with
to say,
you.
banning words is a bad idea.
I
You're
think so too.
Yeah.
I think we need some words back.
You're right.
Like, you know, a mother.
Maybe not ban the word, but go back in history,
Challenge.
take it out somehow.
Challenged at least.
Make it so that people didn't think about it the way they did.
What?
I definitely don't think that we should be changing history.
Well, that
No,
we already
not
have.
changing history,
We
but just
totally have.
I would like to know how history would have been affected if that word wasn't used often.
Peyton gets a time machine, changes the
Just
word
word
normal,
normal.
and suddenly
You know what?
this existence doesn't exist.
Yes.
It would be.
Probability.
The word would be farkle.
Farkle?
Are you farkle?
I think you mean falcon.
Yeah.
Instead of normal, it'd be, is your family farkle?
Yeah, it would be another word.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It
And we
be-
would think it was a normal word.
Another word would have been created.
You're right.
Yes, that's
for
what I'm
that.
saying. Hello. I just picked a word.
I think
But it is interesting to think about what language has been created.
For the time.
And I think this word is a really good example of that. Not for the time, but thank you for trying to finish my sentence. What
That
word?
sentence just came out of my head.
No, it came out of your mouth, actually.
I'm sorry.
Your mouth is on your head, I think.
I gotta think about what I was saying.
He's been distracted.
It's interesting to think about what language has been created to other.
Maybe we could touch that. I don't know. Just press.
Say that again,
I
Jen.
don't know what
Don't-
to
don't
other
use-
means.
To others.
like to label.
To objectify it.
Say that they're not normal.
Right? It's
Yeah.
a word to, like Peyton said about genocide. But it's a word, it is to use, because to call something normal means you're defining anything outside of that as abnormal.
And it's an innocent word. It's looked at as a good thing. It's looked at as like
but-
gold. Something you
Thoughtlessly.
should
Nobody
seek,
is normal.
seek after.
I think it is in some cases. yeah.
But why
so
was
that you
that-
can feel like you can feel like you're part of a group or a greater,
Yeah.
so you can have acceptance
Yeah.
for being in a group that claims that this is normal.
Why was that word structured that way at all? Why wasn't it structured more like a word that we didn't seek after?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's how language is built and the psychology behind it.
Well, I
And
think
who ultimately decides and determines our language? Is it the group, or are there certain people that, writers or
Well, there's-
or academics, or like who is making those decisions ultimately?
I think in a lot.
After you listen to the podcast I sent you, you should take a deep dive into the word normal like this poet does with different words and see what comes out of that.
I think we've had all around us in the last 5 years, words have been changed, and we're told we're supposed to say certain words, or
More like you're told you can't say or you have to.
Are you
Just
talking
say-
about like PC, like politically
yeah,
correct?
PC is that a word?
He just made it.
Politically correct. When did you say that
What'd you say?
before?
That's hip.
I know.
What?
Wow.
My hip doesn't hurt.
Oh, brother, you didn't do. No, but it is interesting, right, to think about. And I mean, it's funny when you look around at different families. I remember when you kids were all growing up and stuff, and thinking, like, I love our family. Like, we're a pretty great family. I didn't say normal family, but I mean, I remember thinking,
I remember
Wow.
I remember hearing you say the word normal on multiple occasions.
oh, okay, well,
We're
It's
not
okay.
a normal family.
That's true.
that's what I.
No, and that's
I've
the
heard that.
use. That's the use
I
of the
always
word
said
normal.
not normal.
We're not a normal family.
That's still the same usage of the same word.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Just opposite.
It's just the flip
the
side.
backside.
No, it's
The
still
other
the
side.
same thing. You're
Other
still
side.
othering
Dark
people.
It's the
side
other
of
side of the
normal.
coin.
No, you're doing the same thing. You're still othering people. You're still saying we're different than other people. It's still what you're saying.
Well, it's good to be different.
We're all
I
unique.
mean, it is what it
We're all
is. We are
different.
all different. We are all
We are all different.
Or we're all so similar that we have to seek.
Differentness.
We have to seek the differences. We have to seek that
I
at
think
all
it's interesting
times.
that in a family system like mine, I grew up with the word fluff being used to define passing gas. And when other people would say fart, it was like, oh, it was.
It really
Oh,
was
it hurts,
like
doesn't it?
hard.
It really
Like,
hurts.
oh, that's not normal. That's weird.
It's true.
That was an F word that we completely avoided in our
I
family.
think little 2-year-olds saying fluff just sounds softer.
It does. It is.
I think 62-year-old saying fluff sounds softer.
I'm not 62. I'm 60. It's gonna come soon enough. Oh. Very sad day in history.
It's not such a sad day. It's really a
I'm just
beautiful.
gonna get old.
That author you're gonna listen to.
It's a beautiful day.
He has an essay that he wrote about time. Oh dang, that's
It's pretty good.
Dang.
Dang, that's really good.
Remember my Methuselah story on time?
With the tree, right?
Yeah, the tree.
With
There's
the tree.
so many stories.
I know.
Oh, I remember. That was when I was in Guam.
And I remember, Jeff, when you wrote the I don't know if it was a story or a poem, but on emotion.
Yeah, it was like when we first started.
Yeah, when we first started. In fact, I think
very good,
I
You
quoted you out of that. Yeah.
That was very good that you remember that.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm not remembering anything.
Well, when you don't listen often, it's hard to remember anything.
Wow. So deep.
Or maybe you should start thinking about what you do listen to, because you remember things, because you tell information to us all the time about things that you heard and
Yes.
read. So it's not that you can't; it's what you choose to focus on.
Focus, yeah. Or their lack of thereof.
Wow.
I'm talking about in general. I'm not talking about any
I'm putting
specific
in a
person.
positive frame. What you choose to focus.
All right.
Wow. I'm feeling a little sleepy now.
Thanks, everybody, for joining today's episode. Candy Swirls. If you liked it, please share and subscribe to the YouTube channel and to Spotify, to whatever other things we'll have going on. And please give us a 5-star review. If you do, you might have the chance to see the inside of a Jawbreaker. I almost said Jolly Rancher.
Yeah. I tell myself I'm not going to say anything, and it comes out
You
every
just
time.
did.
Nice.